Nnamdi Kanu's struggle, Neo-Colonial Orthodoxy versus contemporary Pan-Africanism. What Nnamdi Kanu is doing can be likened to what the current leaders of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Chad are doing, which is fighting to set their people free from age-long colonial oppression and subjugation. Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, embodies a modern Pan-Africanist vision that challenges the neo-colonial frameworks upheld by Nigeria and the United Kingdom. His push for Biafra self-determination is not merely a separatist agenda but a rejection of colonial legacies that perpetuate centralized control and marginalization. This struggle can indeed be framed as a clash between neo-colonial orthodoxy, rooted in preserving colonial-era boundaries and power structures, and a progressive Pan-Africanism that seeks sovereignty, cultural integrity, and equitable development free from historical stereotypes. Nigeria opposes Kanu's Biafra due to its commitment to a unified state forged by British colonial design in 1914, amalgamating diverse ethnic groups under a single polity. The Nigerian government views secession as a threat to national stability and economic interests, particularly the oil-rich southeast, which sustains its revenue. The Biafran War, 1967–1970, entrenched this stance, with Nigeria's victory, bolstered by UK support, solidifying a narrative of indivisibility. Kanu's rhetoric, emphasizing Igbo, including minorities like Ijaw, Ibibio, Efik, Anang, Ikoi etc., marginalization and self-reliance, disrupts this orthodoxy, exposing the fragility of a nation-state reliant on suppressing ethnic aspirations to maintain neo-colonial cohesion. The UK's opposition stems from its historical role in crafting Nigeria and its ongoing geopolitical interests. During the Biafran War, Britain supplied arms and backed Nigeria to secure oil access, prioritizing economic gain over humanitarian concerns. Today, Kanu's British citizenship complicates matters, yet the UK's reticence to intervene decisively in his 2021 arrest reflects a preference for stability over supporting a movement that could unravel its colonial legacy. His Pan-Africanist stance, advocating grassroots empowerment and rejecting imposed borders, threatens the neo-colonial order both nations uphold. Kanu's battle thus symbolizes a push for a reimagined Africa, unshackled from colonial stereotypes of tribal inferiority, challenging Nigeria and the UK to confront their vested interests in a status quo that stifles progressive self-determination. Ibrahim Traoré, the president of Burkina Faso, has survived 16 assassination attempts, ranking him to be the president who has faced the highest number of coup attempts in the shortest time. But on a second thought, what would ever make anyone who wants the best for the people want to assassinate Ibrahim Traoré? Burkina Faso's current team of rulers are proponents of Sankarism, the socialist ideas of state transformation aimed at achieving true independence for African states that were originally promoted by Thomas Sankara. He has been called the most honest president in the world. He came to power in the country when it was still called the Republic of Upper Volta as a result of a popularly supported military coup in 1983. Sankara ruled until 1987, when he was assassinated in a new coup d'état by Blaise Compaoré. Traoré's team, young special forces officers who defended Burkina Faso from terrorism, are quite popular in a country tired of corruption, instability and neo-colonialism. At the same time, they are expected to deliver early results in the economy and improve living standards. Besides, even moderately socialist ideas of Sankarism are not very popular among the pro-French elite, a number of top army officials and bureaucracy. That is why the current government of Burkina Faso needs Russian assistance not only to ensure victory over terrorism, but also to carry out effective economic reforms, create new jobs, and develop resources on equal terms. African leaders are obviously enslaved by foreign powers. Forget their large convoys of luxury cars, ambience of presidential palaces, fleets of expensive jets and the zombie militaries under their commands. Our leaders are controlled slaves who need to be freed by us, the people. Ibrahim Traoré, president of Burkina Faso. He stays in his country working hard every day to solve structural problems for his people. He's more focused on domestic affairs. He doesn't charter private jets traveling abroad almost every week to beg for aid and loans. He's cutting down on public waste and prioritizing the development of the ordinary people. And that is the character of a true leader. Put your thoughts on this in the comments section. Stay tuned for more updates, stay safe and have a blessed day.
From there. I think the example, if you want to break with these imperialist forces, it's simple, we denounce the agreements. Everything starts from there. I think the example of Chad in any case is tangible. They started by denouncing the agreements. Otherwise, if we don't denounce the agreements, just saying that the bases leave, we haven't done anything. Because the problem lies in the colonial agreements, the defenses that have been signed since independence. The most dangerous is not the one you see in the bases. The most dangerous are the military advisors. Military advisors exist in all these countries. They existed in Burkina as well until the end of 2022, until we took responsibility. And who are these military advisors? They are the ones who are supposed to implement France's policy. Here, they must work to make our armies very weak, so that France can always have the argument to exist here. Under their influence, they had succeeded. Our sentinels were therefore standing guard with sticks. That's what France wants from our armies. When we reach this stage, we have no choice but to want them to come and settle. But the Burkinabe army managed to get rid of the military advisors. Unfortunately, I think that in 2019, after Operation Tapono, where the French saw that the Burkinabe army still had the capacity to respond to terrorists, they called the chiefs of staff in France. They instructed him to reintegrate the military advisors throughout the structure. Well, they did not agree. But upon returning to the country, the politicians instructed him to accept the military advisors. And that's when the military advisors returned to the Burkinabe army in 2019. With all the consequences we know, the army was on the verge of disappearing in the years 2020, 2021. And indeed, this is the time when many soldiers had to desert because there was no longer any hope. We were in the process of collapsing. That's a bit how they work at the General Staff headquarters. In all army headquarters, in the schools, they are the ones who are supposed to dictate the policy of our army. They are the ones who tell us when to recruit, how to recruit, and what to do with them. They are in the schools to tell us how to train them, and so on. As long as these military advisors are there, you are not independent. Your army will just have the appearance of an army that is there to perform parades, a circus. But when war comes, you will realize that a parade is one thing, but war is another thing. You have to break the agreements. It's the only way to have an independent army and build strength. But many people do not understand this, perhaps. And even with these agreements, France selects from our states officer cadets to go and train them. It's through these same agreements. But in reality, these officers who go to train, for the most part for France, they come to serve the French state in their country. They do not come to serve our countries. They train them so that they come to serve the interests of the French state. I can provide evidence of this. When we revolted, many officers in Burkina who were trained in France were immediately contacted to tell them that it was time to take action because you were trained for this, to serve France's interests. Most of these officers reported back to us. We took note and we continued to monitor. When an officer trained in France returns to his country and unfortunately dies, either by accident or on the battlefield. In France, there is a night of tribute to the fallen in the army, as there is everywhere else. During the night of tribute to the fallen, the name of the officer in question is mentioned, and it is said, died for France. They do not train him to serve his country, they train him to serve their state. And in many African states, there are plenty of such officers. If you want to break with these imperialist forces, it's simple, we denounce the agreements. Everything starts from there. I think the example of Chad in any case is tangible. They started by denouncing the agreements. Otherwise, if we don't denounce the agreements just saying that the bases leave, we haven't done anything. Because the problem lies in the colonial agreements, the defenses that have been signed since independence. The most dangerous is not the one you see in the bases. The most dangerous are the military advisors. Military advisors exist in all these countries. They existed in Burkina as well until the end of 2022, until we took responsibility. And who are these military advisors? They are the ones who are supposed to implement France's policy. Here, they must work to make our armies very weak so that France can always have the argument. To exist here. Under their influence, they had succeeded. Our sentinels were therefore standing guard with sticks.